Welcome to Outlier University. This is where we help you save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Today in class, we're going to be talking more about options, the mostest, bestest way to trade. We talked about foundations. We talked about thinking like a successful trader. We talked about developing your trading plan. Talked about managing money like a pro. And now we're talking about options. This is today. Leverage, why options, Greeks, liquidity, skew, hedging, rolling, and expirations. It's a lot today. So be sure you take notes, interrupt me if needed, if something isn't making sense. But the reason that we trade options is for leverage. Oh man, who can describe how would someone of you describe leverage? Anybody want to take a crack at it? How about William, Mr. Skinny Buff guy?
I'll take a crack at it. Yeah. I would explain that leverage is basically multiplying your potential returns. We're obviously using an option contract to do so, which is not trading the actual stock itself, but it follows the underlying stock that we are trading the option on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to go into more detail or.
Dunk, I think had it right. It's just magic. It's just magic. Yeah. I agree with that, actually. Yeah. Leverage is magic, but it allows you to control a large amount of stock with a small amount of capital. Okay. We're able to have big positions, huge positions. We've talked about the position sizing and how with only, let's say, 8% of your account, if you were to trade the stock, it might be 80% of your account, but in the options, it's only 8% of your account. It is one of the coolest things ever. It allows you to control a large amount of stock with a small amount of capital. But you have to understand that the gains with leverage can be outsized and so can the losses. But if you understand how to use it correctly, you can make unbelievable amounts of money. Someone call that master of the universe money. Now, I know you guys know this answer, so I'm going to give it to Charlotte. Charlotte, what is the golden rule of leverage?
Oh, is this the don't risk more than you can make?
That's exactly right. The golden rule of leverage is never put yourself in a position where you can lose more than you can win. Never do this. And I just want to add to it, not even once. Okay. I know you're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just I'll dip my toes into selling options this one time. It'll be fine. No, not even once. Don't even think about it ever. Okay. Because when you use leverage correctly, you have capped your small losses. Capped your small losses. Hey, here we go. Dunk. I like it. Losses can be capped when buying deep in the money and set up your position to risk a small percent of your account. Exactly. It's like he had the notes ahead of time. He's cheating. I don't know where this guy is getting his information from. Who let him into the professor's office so he could steal all the notes? That's what I want to know. All right. So you can have capped small losses with theoretically potential unlimited large wins. This is why we use leverage. We're keeping our losses small, and we have the opportunity to let our winners run out of control. Now, what happens if you flip this over? Well, if you flip this over, you have capped small wins. Who in the wide world of sports thought that is a great idea? But you have unlimited potential large losses? Kostya, come on, dude. You can't be serious. Is this real? Do people actually trade like this?
They sure do.
Why?
I started to learn this when I started to learn about options. Luckily,
why would anybody do that?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking, why would anybody do that?
Well, that's a good question. Because they start teaching that, oh, look, 80% chance that you'll be successful. And 80%, 85, 90% seems like the right number to be successful. The reality didn't prove itself right.
No. I think it has to do with the insidious nature of options, which is the trade can go up, down, or sideways, and you can still be profitable. But not only that, the insidious part of it is that you have to have time tick by. You can't avoid it. So if something's working against you, there's nothing you can do. All you have to do is just wait longer for it to work more against you, which is exactly what happened to me. I've told this a million times. I know you guys are tired of hearing it, but I had an 84% win rate and lost $200,000. What kind of idiot with itty bitty baby brains and itty bitty baby hands has an 84% win rate and loses $200,000? This guy. right? This guy. I don't want that ever to happen to you. So never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, not even once, put yourself in a situation where you can lose more than you can win. Not even once, because you may end up like OptionsSellers.com. Who has heard of OptionsSellers.com? You're in for a treat. You're in for a treat because we're going to go down history lane over here. We're going to start with the apology video. The apology video from OptionsSellers.com. Let's start there.
I am so sorry that I was unable to manage the rogue wave that hit us this week. I wish I could name you all by person right now, all 290 clients of ours. You were my family, and I'm sorry that this rogue wave capsized our boat. In the coming days, in the coming weeks, our office doors will be open, our phones will be answered, and any questions that you might have, my staff will do their best to answer questions you might have and somehow help. I want to thank you all for becoming part of our family. I wish you all the best, because every morning when I woke up and I checked the markets, and my wonderful wife made us dinner, and I took my laptop and sat it next to me while I was sipping a glass of wine, because I want to check on the markets and make sure that they were okay. I am so sorry for not managing our ship and keeping her afloat. I bid you great luck and good health, and please feel free to call our office.
Trav picked this up, and also the very first thing I thought of while watching this video was his big beautiful Rolex right there, as he's apologizing to not only taking people's life savings, but I think it went negative. I think they owed money at the end of the day. So what did this guy do? First off, it's kind of in the name. It's kind of in the name of what he was doing. But let's go down this video right here. I don't want to watch the entire thing. What I want to do is skip to what happened.
4 clients. I believe you had 300 odd accounts under management, about 150 million. All of a sudden, natural gas did this. Here's the chart, guys.
So natural gas went on a huge move up, and bro was selling call options, which selling a call option is a bearish trade. And this didn't last forever. This was a super short-term move. Right? I can't tell really from the chart. That may have been a 1 month mood. That's it. It is gone. It is over.
You can see how much it spiked up. Now, this basically effectively made these call options stupidly valuable and pretty much, not being around the bush, wiped out everybody's account. In other words, these call options he was selling to supposedly achieve income all of a sudden became very, very valuable, and he was on the short side of...
Wait, income? Do you actually think that you can tell the market when you're going to get paid? Because people who sell options have that exact mentality. First, the markets are efficient. Of course, the markets are efficient, right? Nobody in their right mind would ever do something stupid in the market. Nobody would ever do something stupid in the market. Nobody would ever be emotional, right? Because every single person who is participating in the market all have, you know, the exact same knowledge at the exact same time, so they all make exactly the same rational decisions. Right? Carol, the efficient market theory has to be real, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really sad video, Chris. I don't know.
Have you seen that before, Carol?
No, that was the first time. Is this the guy that was I can't remember. He had people sign up. He'd only been trading options for 3 years. Is that the same guy?
Oh, Captain Condor?
Yeah,
no,
that's
a different
it.
guy.
That's a different guy.
That's a different guy.
More losses. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So this happened on a very quick move in natural gas. So OptionsSellers.com went up in flames, set on fire by that natural gas.
That one.
But
wow.
What about long-term capital management? Have any of y'all ever heard of long-term capital management? Yeah. Long-term capital management had a similar strategy. Not only that, they had 2 Nobel Prize winning economists at long-term capital management. They actually thought that they were the smartest people in the world. Long-term capital management also blew up because all he did was basically sell derivatives like this guy. And even when you have the smartest people in the world, you can take some really dumb risks if you don't understand the point of the golden rule of leverage, right? So let me pull this back up here. I think we're done with videos for now. You never know, we may come back to them later. But that'll never happen to you guys, right? Right? There's no way that this would ever happen to you. No, of course not, right? Because you're way smarter than that, right? And are you a Nobel Prize winner? Huh? No, probably not. I mean, I'm not going to judge you if you are. That'd be pretty cool if you were. But they were, and they blew up even worse because they forgot the golden rule of leverage, which is never put yourself in a position where you can lose more than you can win ever. Now, with all that being said, options are the greatest trading vehicle of all time if you trade them correctly. Right? Let's compare the current trades from the stock change to the options change. Okay. I think my apostrophe is out of place there, but that's okay. Let's look at some of these, right? So we're still good on ego. Let's go to the daily chart. Ego is up bigly from where we got in. So where we got in on the stock, it's gone up about 5%. Man, that's great. Stock's gone up 5%. I wonder what it's done in my US Investing Championship portfolio over here. So let's go to ego. I need percent change. I don't have percent change. What's the difference between 715 and 875? So 875 minus 715 divided by 715, it's up 22%, right? So the stock is up 5%. My option trade that is still active right now is up 22%. No, the really fast formula that I learned in business school is new minus old divided by old. So if you ever want to get your percentage change, that's how you do it. Cool. All right. So we already saw that this one is worth 4 times more in this case. What about KGC? What about KGC? This is on a huge run. This one is up now roughly 10%, just shy of 10%. We've already rolled it a couple times, so we can come over here and we can see KGC. While the stock is up 10%, my options are up 73%. Okay, so do we understand why we want to be long the call options? Because we can control a ton of capital with a small amount of money and get way outsized gains. Does anybody have questions on why we trade those options? Anybody? No. I mean, it just makes perfect sense, right? Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, but Chris, everybody on the internet says I can make money on a monthly basis doing the wheel. Why can't I do the wheel?
Okay, this is going to get real deep options theory here. Ready? So the wheel is basically the worst options trade of all time. Let me explain. So let's say that you start by selling puts. Now, when you sell puts, you have a very small amount of gain that you can make. All right. So we've talked about how when you sell options, you have capped gains. So, oh, you know what? It's fine. I'll just, take my little put inheritance every month. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, then at some point in time, let's see if I can find a big move down here. Let's go with this. At some point in time, you've been selling puts all the way up and the stock reverses against you. And let's say in this case, you were long, you had sold puts at the $5.74 level. Okay. Price came back down. It went through the put you sold. Now you own those shares, which is great. I am so stoked. Art, I've been wanting to own these shares the entire time at 574. I was just selling puts on the way up to make income. Okay. And now I own puts and it's gone down. And boy, has it gone down bigly. Oh no, it's gone down 20% since I took those shares. Okay, that's not so great. My put selling was great until I got put the shares, aka that's why it's called. I got put the shares and now I'm down 20%. But that's okay. I'm going to sell calls against it. Don't worry. I'm going to sell calls against it the whole way down. Okay. I'm going to sell calls against it over and over and over, and it's going to be great. And oh shoot, it blew through my call strike. Now I've just locked in a buttload of losses all at once because I thought I was so genius by selling puts all the way up, taking the shares, selling calls against it all the way down, my calls got called, my shares are gone, I have way less money in my account than I ever started with. I mean, you do you, but I certainly am not going to put myself in that situation. Art, have you had this happen to you?
No, I don't do the wheel strategy. I was just trying to make a joke because it's everyone on the internet is peddling that wheel strategy out there. Every video is in my feed. My YouTube feed is, how you can make $5,000 a month on the wheel, and it just doesn't work. It's a losing strategy.
It is. It is a losing strategy. It is one of the worst strategies you can possibly have, because you can get into a situation where everything looks great. You get assigned the shares. You're like, that's great. I want to own the shares anyway. Bullshit. You want to own the shares. It goes down even further, further. You're selling calls against it the whole time. You're like, that's fine. I'm collecting. I'm doing covered calls. Everything's wonderful. It runs. It leaves you behind. And you're sitting with your thumb up your backside thinking, man, if I had only listened to this random guy on the internet, I wouldn't have these giant losses in my account, because the wheel actually is a terrible strategy. Thanks a lot, Art. You got me off on a side tangent there, but you know what? Maybe somebody will learn from it, because this is the advanced concepts class. Let's keep going. Now, Greeks. How would you describe the Greeks? Let's ask Shane. Shane, I don't know if you're Greek. Shane, are you Greek?
No, I'm not.
No, that's okay. But maybe you know what the Greeks are. What would you say the Greeks are?
You mean like delta, theta? Each one of them, I'm not 100% sure on which one, what each one does, but I'm vaguely familiar with them.
Yeah, that works, man. There's delta, theta, Vega, rho. There's some others. They don't really matter. But what are they? They are price measurements for the options chain. They're variables that sit inside of the Black-Scholes model. Now, the Black-Scholes model is used to price options. Remember earlier, we talked about the long-term capital management. Black and Scholes, I believe, are the two Nobel Prize winners who were at long-term capital management. But they get to write their name all over the Black-Scholes pricing model. Right. So here's what it looks like. Now, make sure you remember this, because this is super important. Everything you need to know is right there. Duh. I mean, Mark, right? When you're out taking care of business every day in your truck, you'll be able to remember this right off the top of your head, right?
Oh yeah, it just rattles around in my head all day. Anytime I look at a chain, just mental math right there. Boom, got it, done.
Easy, easy, exactly, right? Now, I have a great story, and it was when I was working in consulting, and my boss at the time, he and I were talking about trading options, and I think he was really jealous of the fact that I actually was making money. I think he was very threatened. He's one of those guys that was really tall, but he was really insecure. So at all points in time, he wanted to make sure that everybody knew he's the boss. Everybody needs to know I'm the boss, right? Going to micromanage every single thing that you do. But one day we're talking about trading options, and he's like, "Well, if you're so smart, what's the Black-Scholes pricing formula over there?" And he had a CFA, which I don't know if you guys know, but CFA is one of the most hardest financial designations to ever get. So he's very book smart, but an asshole. Anyway, so looking at him, I was like, you know what? I don't need to know the formula. I just need to know how to make money using it. And that is my answer. You don't need to know the formula. This right here, if you really are hell-bent on memorizing it, by all means, go for it. But you don't need to know it. You just need to know how to make money using it. Okay? And I'm going to teach you that. Let's start with delta. Does anybody have a way to describe delta? I'm just asking. There are no right answers here. No wrong answers here. I actually just want to know. I want to hear what you know. Go ahead, Mark.
It's the probability that price is going to be at that strike upon expiration based on current conditions.
Dude, that's great. Delta can be used for many things, including exactly that, seeing what the probability is of that strike being in the money at expiration. Kostya, go ahead.
It's the amount of money that the option is going to move relative to the amount of money that the stock will move. So the delta 80 means delta 0.8. So if the stock moves by $1, that option will move by 80 cents.
Dude,
So that's,
you're right
I think,
too.
is the actual formula of it. But then you can extrapolate it to probability as well.
Right. Delta is used in all kinds of different ways, and we'll talk more about it in a minute. I kind of got out of order on my slide. So there's delta, gamma, theta, vega, and rho. Nobody cares about rho. Rho is the redheaded stepchild of the family. Everybody can just forget about that one. Let's keep going. So delta, right? The change in price for every of the option for every $1 change in underlying stock, like Kasia said. But it can also be used, like Mark said, to approximate the probability of it being in the money at expiration. Nicely done, both of you. You're both right. All right, so let's go look at a little screenshot here. So looking at this screenshot, looking at delta, this was taken a long time ago for the alpha group, but the 195 strike has an 83 delta right here, meaning that it will have a 83% probability that is established today of it being in the money at expiration. It's already in the money now. 83% chance it's going to still be there. And for every $1 move in Capital One Finance, this option will go up approximately 83 cents. Now, it's not always perfect, but that's as close as we can get using the Black-Scholes pricing model. Okay, so that's what delta is. Then there's gamma. Gamma is how much the delta will change for every $1 move in the underlying stock. All right, so we talked about delta, what it is over here, but the gamma is the change between each strike. So this goes 7, 6, 5, 5, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2, 1, less than 1, less than 1, all the way up, right? Gamma is highest at the money where there's the most uncertainty. So as it gets closer to the money, there's more uncertainty. As it gets deeper in the money, there's more certainty. So you're basically going from like a 89% probability of it being in the money at expiration to a 90% probability of money being in the money at expiration. That's what gamma measures there. There is gamma expansion and gamma contraction. When we roll options, we're moving back from the, let's say, for example, the 90 down to the 80. We'll talk about rolling more in a couple minutes. We actually get to take advantage of that gamma once again, because here gamma basically has nothing, has no change from strike to strike. However, that gamma is bigger down here, so we get more gamma by rolling it back down. Okay, super deep stuff. I don't expect you to understand this top to bottom. It's okay. Now, delta versus gamma. Think of it this way. Delta is the speed that you're going. All right. So imagine that Rick and Art are racing. Okay. They both are traveling at 80 miles an hour. You guys are going nuts. Now, we're only going to talk about freedom units here. We don't know about kilometers per hour. However, gamma is how hard you're passing on the gas / petrol pedal. Okay. I guess, Rick, do you call it the petrol pedal over there or the gas pedal?
We call it the accelerator.
Oh, give me a break with your accelerator. No. I still call it the gas pedal in my Tesla, my friend. Delta is the speed at which they're going. So they're both going 80, but Rick is mashing the accelerator and Art is leaning off the accelerator. And because of that, Rick is actually going to go faster, right? They're both going fast, but Rick's going to go a little bit faster, up to 81 miles an hour than Art will. Okay, I hope that's a useful demonstration there. Let's keep going. Then there's theta. Theta is time decay. This is the uncertainty value, the uncertainty premium that we have to pay to buy an option. There is no way around it. And there's more uncertainty in 6 months than there is in six days. So, for example, if you were to buy an insurance contract and you need it for 6 days, it's probably not going to cost you very much. But if you need it for 6 months, it's going to be significantly more expensive because there is greater uncertainty associated with it. It's just a fact. So looking at this, let's see. Theta, nearly all of extrinsic value is theta. Nearly all of this is theta. Not all of it, but nearly all of it. And the further out in time you go, even at the same strike, the more theta is associated with it because it is time decay. Okay, let's keep going. There is no free lunch in trading, and theta is the cost of lunch. Okay, it's an unavoidable reality in trading. Just like there's an unavoidable reality of wins and losses, when you trade options, theta is an unavoidable reality. You can choose to work with it by selling those options, which you don't really want to do. That's the sexiness behind it, because time is going to pass no matter what. Or you can just say, you know what? I know I got to work around it, and that's the cost of my lunch. That's the way I look at it. So let's make this really complex. Are y'all ready for, who's ready for complex stuff? You ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to get real deep right here. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Okay. I love this chart right here, but there's a lot going on. So this is theta decay. So this is a leveraged investment when you go deep in the money, which is where I live and what I teach. Out of the money is YOLO calls. And let's say that we've got 22 days until this is over, right? It's a lottery ticket. Out of the money, at the money, etc. These are lottery tickets. Leveraged investment versus lottery ticket. Both of them will go to zero in theta at the same time. But in these two options here, one of them is 13%, just for example, 13%. So imagine that this is the cost over here, right? 13% or 100%. One of them is 13% theta, and the other is 100% theta. They're both going to go to zero at the same time. So let's say if it were $4.90, that would be a 4.5% decay per day to go from $4.90 to zero in 22 days. But if you go with the leveraged investment, that is 10%. So $1.79. So 45 basis points decay per day. So if you think about it that way, it's 10 times more decay per day to go at the money or out of the money. Both of us are going to have decay. It is a fact. But I'm going to pay 45 basis points. You're going to pay 450 when you go out of the money. All right. Decently complex topic here. Let's go on to, yes, the option costs more. Of course, the option costs more when you go deeper in the money because it's a more valuable investment. Okay. This has moneyness associated with it. This has intrinsic value that at expiration, this will have some sort of value. Whereas at expiration, this has nothing, literally nothing. I get to do it. Where's my button?
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Oh, there we go. That's how much you get at the end of the day when you go out of the money. Absolutely nothing. Now, the deeper in the money option here has tremendously less theta decay versus the at the money option. And yeah, it costs more for a reason. Now, there's Vega. Vega is how much the option price will move because of changes in the implied volatility. It could be rising or falling, honestly. Now, this is baked into the extrinsic value. We talked about extrinsic value as mostly theta, but Vega is baked into this, and this will change for sure. And has to do with implied volatility. How big of a move up or down traders are expecting will happen. That is the future expectation of the stock. And it's not based on historical volatility. So, for example, if you're leading up into earnings, we do have an idea that there's going to be an potentially outsized move one way or another. So implied volatility is going to rise, but it has nothing to do with the implied or the actual move over the last couple of weeks or so. It's all based on forward-looking volatility. And this gets pumped up at earnings, product announcements, catalyst events, any sort of time where there's a chance that the price could have a big move. The implied volatility gets pumped up. The extrinsic value gets pumped up. It does have an impact on extrinsic value. Absolutely no impact on intrinsic value, but you don't have to stress about it. If implied volatility is high, the options will cost more. Okay, just a fact. But if you go up the options chain, you can still get a strike with around 20% or so extrinsic value. So it doesn't really change anything in this style of trading. Okay, if implied volatility goes high, all you got to do is go further up the options chain, and you're still going to get roughly the 20% extrinsic value that we're looking for. That's it. So for me, I don't care if the implied volatility is high or low. It doesn't make any difference to me. There's implied volatility crush. Now, this is when the catalyst event is over. So for example, right after earnings, and you see that it didn't go up 20%, it actually went up 1.2%. The implied volatility crushes, and it happens fast. This can be done within an hour. You can watch, in fact, I would actually encourage you guys to go find a stock that has earnings and watch it the night before, take a screenshot, then watch it the first 10, 15, 30 minutes to an hour afterward, and you will see the extrinsic value plummet to nothing. Maybe not nothing, but all the way down. And the options can lose value very, very, very quickly, which is why we always want to minimize how much extrinsic value we're paying for. All right, let's keep going. Then there's rho. This is how much the option prices will change based on interest rates. Unless you're holding leaps, this means nothing to you. Like legitimately, don't even worry about it. If you're trading something that's 180 days or more, maybe. But until that point, you don't even have to think about it. It doesn't matter. Just forget about it. But what matters most is delta and theta. Both of those are unavoidable, but these are the two that matter the most. And we want to maximize our deltas and minimize our theta. So we do that by picking the right option strike. So you've seen this before. Let's go over it real quick. When I look to trade options, I want to start at 21 days to expiration. I need roughly 250 or more in open interest. And sometimes I go a little bit more. I can go or a little bit less, and I can go any more. It doesn't matter as long as it's that much. I want a less than 50-cent bid-ask spread. Absolute max 30% extrinsic value, but 20% is great. And that usually hits me right at the 80 delta calls. Okay. You can trade any option that you want. The choices are literally endless, but pick what works best for you and your style of trading. All right. You've got all these different strikes to choose from. And one of the things that we're learning is that the market can absorb as many contracts as we want. But for a nice rule of thumb is that go to 4 to 6x your size in open interest. So if you're trading 50 contracts, 250 is a great place. That's 5x, right? If you're trading 100 contracts, you may want to go 400 on open interest or more. But what we are finding is that it's not really an issue. But I'm going to continue to spread the gospel of finding liquidity. But it needs to have tight bid-ask spreads. And the tighter, the better. All right. So skew. Does anybody know what skew is? Rick, go ahead.
I'm trying to remember. I did read about it. So I think it's when the distribution of the market is pricing in of the probabilities of the price moving is not sort of equally centered on the current price.
No, you're in a really good place right there. The way that I've described it is the same delta call versus the same delta put will have different prices. So for example, people get way more nervous about a stock market crash than the stock market going up to infinity. So if you had a 20 delta call and a 20 delta put, the 20 delta put is going to cost more because more people buy that strike. Okay, that's what skew means. It's not evenly distributed on both sides. So I took a little screenshot here. It's 280 for a 32 delta call right here, or 310 for a 32 delta put. The portfolio insurance or hedging was a huge waste of money in this case, right? Because if it continues to go up, there's no point in this. And speaking of hedging, let's talk about that. How would you guys describe hedging? I want to hear from you. I want to hear from, who haven't I heard from in a while? Go ahead, Art. What do you think about hedging?
Protecting your investment.
It's a great answer. It's a brilliant answer. I'm not going to fault you at all for that. What about you, William? What do you think about hedging?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're protecting your gains. A lot of people will buy options or buy puts in order to protect their investment. So we don't really care about tax as an outlier, apparently, but a lot of people do. They don't want to create a taxable event. So rather than selling their underlying stock, they'll just go out and buy puts on it. That way, if the market does pull back, it'll help to offset their losses because they'll realize a gain on the put.
You brought up a rabbit hole with taxes. In my opinion, don't consider taxes whatsoever in your trading strategy. Because I have seen many times somebody say, I don't want to sell my stock because I don't want to have to pay taxes on it. It's like saying, I don't want to raise because then I'll have to pay more money in taxes. Really? Doesn't make sense to me. For me, it's all about just following the plan, and the taxes are going to be what the taxes are going to be. In fact, the more money you make, the more taxes you have to pay. And so therefore, you want to pay as much taxes as you can. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Buying something that goes up in value as your main investment goes down is how I described hedging. So buying puts is while also buying stock. So the puts will go up in value when the stock goes down. So honestly, you're sacrificing gains in both directions because the more you buy puts, the more your overall investments go down. Okay, so you really are losing out in both directions. And in my opinion, just get out of the trade. If it's not working, just get out. And I wrote on here, don't try to get fancy. when you can just keep it simple. If it's not working, just get out of the way. Don't try and hedge or anything like that. Just get out of the way. Now, let's talk about rolling. So in the time traveling video from where I put on a couple rolls a minute ago, when a stock moves up at least an ATR, if it moves in your direction, the question you have to ask yourself is, can I roll up and out for a credit? If you do it for a debit, you've done it wrong. Don't do it. If you can't do it for a credit, do not do it. So the way you do it is that in one order, you would sell to close the original position. You buy closer to the money with the same number of contracts with your same liquidity standards. And when you roll, it takes partial profits now, it frees up capital, and it keeps the trade alive. But you need to keep your same planned exit points. And then 1 week before expiration, because in the last week is when gamma risk is the highest, right? We don't want this to fall out of the money and our investment would be worth nothing. So 1 week before expiration, you have to ask yourself, is it already profitable? No, dude, it's just not going to work out. And that's okay. Just close it. You don't want it to go to zero. It's already profitable. Yes. Cool. Can I roll up and out for a credit? I'm not going to be able to roll strike to strike for a credit because there's longer duration, therefore greater uncertainty. So to go from one to the other will be a debit. But let's say if you get the 50 strike and you can roll to the 51, maybe you can take a little bit of credit. And again, it's the same thing. So what does that look like? So selling the 195 in this case for 1710 and then buying the 202.50 for 1140 gives you a credit of $5.40. So you can take that $5.40 and do anything you want with it, but it keeps the trade alive. It frees up capital, and you're still in the trade. And if you see it as a debit, you've done it wrong. Stop what you're doing and restart. So a little bit of homework for you guys. A little bit of homework. Let me ask you real quick. Who did the homework last week of watching the options video? Who did it? All right. Art gets 100. Rick gets 100. Shane gets 100. Carol gets 100. Charlotte gets 100. Kostya. I have to do it. You get this.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
I like how he can like replace me in the video. That's funny. Yeah, Kostya, you get nothing. Sorry.
Thanks,
you watched it, didn't you?
I watched some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. A lot of it was just going over what I already knew already. So
this guy.
It was kind of like skipping along to areas where I'm like, that's interesting.
Okay, fine. I'll let it go. But options are my personal favorite thing about trading. It's once I discovered the right way to trade options and how much money I could make trading options, I was like, holy moly, this is crazy. So the homework for you is come up with 3 option strikes you would buy and take screenshots. All I'm looking for is the options chain. I don't need to see charts. I don't need to see anything like that. Tell me why you would want to buy those. Okay, don't even look at charts. Focus on the options chain, and you can explain in detail what made them attractive to you. This is not about following the trend here. It's just about picking the strike that works best for you. And I want a reason why. Listen, if your rules are different than mine, that is A-okay. But I want a reason why. You need to sell it to me, okay? And then I want you to pick 3 option strikes you would never, ever, ever buy and why. This is going to be super easy homework, okay? But I do want to watch you guys sell me on these options in class next time. So this will be super fun.